On today's Into Your Head number 734, an experiment in stereo and how to copyright a cat's meow using potatoes as an example, and lots more. Join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head, the temporarily daily Christmas show for the day after Christmas Day, or the day after the day after the day after Christmas Eve, or the day after the day after the day after the day after, however many it is, the day before Christmas Eve. We've a lot to get on today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Oh, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively booming to the seams with topics, although to be perfectly honest, I'm not in the mood for them. It's the week before Christmas now, and trying to get ready. Get this week of crap recorded and put her away for a few days, so I can basically drink for the next few days. Drink and eat and be merry. That's what Christmas is about. You drink and you eat and you be merry. Now I know I'm talking to the post-Christmas you now, so you're in no mood to hear about Christmas coming up because it's already in your past, and it's probably a bit early to think about next Christmas, but I'm thinking about next Christmas now, because next Christmas is 2 days away from now. I'm doing this the day before Christmas Eve, so it's Christmas is 2 and a bit days in front of me. It's probably a few days behind you now. Well, that's your business. It's not my fault we were born in different times and different spaces. I was born in a different part of the timeline to you, so I'm hasty like a bus that's 3 buses behind yours. I'm sorry that I'm not as early as you. Excuse me. But such is the nature of recording. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show. The following is an audio experiment. There is nothing wrong with your listening device. More importantly, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't want you going away, especially if you're one of those podcast review shows. I don't want you going away saying, oh, this fella has his audio all wrong. No, it's an experiment, and it'll be explained therein. You just might find it more difficult to listen than usual, but you just have to put a bit of work into it. Anyway, over to the me of the experimental recent past. I'm told that one of the listeners to this is listening now on a stereo, just like back in the old days before you young people came along with your internet. People used to listen to things on stereos, and you'd have a big box, and you'd have 2 boxes connecting to it, and you'd have build up tiers and layers of boxes over that. You'd have an amplifier and a CD player, and a micro cassette player, and then whatever else you had, a mini disc player, and a radio, a wireless radio, which you connected up to your stereo. Apparently at least one listener is listening to this on a stereo. So, as a service to him, I'd like to record something in stereo. Hang on a minute. This is a test of the Into Your Head stereo broadcast system. You can hear me coming from the left and the right, except I'm not. I've no idea. Well, I don't know any of the technicalities of recording, so I'll just put 2 of me in here. It's basically a dual carriageway that could run both ways. I think if you built a motorway for a median strip and you said, some days the lanes are going to run that way and that way. People will go west along the left and east along the right side of the road, and then some days, depending on the traffic flow, we'll switch them around. We'll alternate them so the traffic on the other side goes the opposite way to where it was going yesterday. So it'll be like that. In other words, it's not really in stereo at all. So here we go. This is a test. 2 channels of stereo audio walk into a bar. One of the channels of stereo audio goes straight up to the bar counter and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of Guinness, please?" And the man behind the bar says, "I'm sorry, I missed part of that. Would you mind saying that again?" And the man in front of the bar says, "Certainly, sir. Can I have a pint of Guinness, please?" And the man behind the bar says, I think there's something wrong with your balance or something, is there? And however you call him, the channel of audio stereo says, oh, I think I know what's wrong. My opposing channel from the right side isn't up here with me. He's having a seat there because we're doing rounds. So he probably said the other bit in your other ear, but you weren't. Of course, he's not up here, so you won't have heard it. Sorry about that. You're right. It is a question of balance. But then this isn't a frigging public service political debate show. So balance isn't all that important. And the barman says, I beg to differ, because you've made your order twice now and I still don't know what you want because of your lack of correct balance. And the channel of stereo audio says, well, it was a pint of your finest Guinness, please. And the barman says, oh, that's original. Maybe you could come up with something new for the new year. Maybe have someone order something other than a pint of my finest Guinness. Because for one thing, I've got perfectly normal bog standard Guinness sitting in the cellar here for the last 2 years since you started doing these bar stories, and nobody's ever asked for them. For finest Guinness, surely you keep your finest Guinness for special occasions, and because it's not going to be, if you have a heavy day, it's just not going to be. It's going to lose its specialness, and you'll have to bring out an even better one. And the channel of stereo audio says, I suppose that's right, sir. I suppose that's right. To be perfectly honest, I've lost interest in this conversation because we've switched back to mono now, and now anything I'm going to say is going to sound dull and monotonous and monotonous. Is monotonous the same as monotonous? There's a question for you. But no interest anymore. This whole conversation has lost its gloss. And the barman says, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe a pint of my finest Guinness will help. Ho, ho, ho. Maybe this is a special occasion after all. And the channel of mono stereo says, you're damn right it is. You're damn right it is. It's the last show of the second week of the Into Your Head temporarily daily Christmas show. And the last one of Christmas week. There's another week to go. Don't worry. Don't worry if you're listening to this, especially if you're listening in stereo. We switched back to mono to facilitate me ordering a pint of Guinness from this man. But apart from that, no. And the man behind the bar says, oh, that's great. Here's your Guinness. Half a glass, because you only ordered in mono. Oh, that's a little joke for you. Don't worry. It's a full glass. It's actually, well, it's not really. I got a treat. A joke shop fella gave me a 2-pint glass, so I put a pint of Guinness into it for you. So it's a full pint. You're not getting ripped off, but because it's in a double-sized glass, it's only half full. Oh, isn't it hilarious? And a channel of mono stereo punches him in the face, and a great night is had by all.
You're listening to
the Into Your Head podcast
from Ireland with your humble proprietor, Neil.
Follow Neil at twitter.com/intoyourheadpod and pretend to like him at facebook.com/intoyourheadpodcast.
I've always been a great believer in the dictum, you reap what you sow, you reap what you sow, you reap, that's a Lou Reed song, you reap what you sow, you're going to reap what you sow, except you're not going to reap what you sow. If you reap what you sow, you'll reap seeds. Although when stuff grows, it usually has seeds in it. But if I remember rightly from my days as a child of a vegetarian growing enthusiast, if you grow stuff, if you leave it long enough, it grows seeds. And if you leave potatoes long enough, it goes to seed. And you find seeds on them, and you say, "Oh, look, that's a potato. That's great, but there's a seed on it. I can plant that, and it'll be like having magic beans. It'll grow into another plant, and that'll have potatoes on it. And then the potatoes, if I leave them long enough, will turn to seed as well. Alternatively, though, you could just eat the fucking potatoes and don't worry about the seeds. Don't worry. Although now that you say that, there's people listening to this thinking, Christ, he wants me to just not bother to reap the seeds and just go and buy a new lot of seeds from that evil corporation that everyone goes on about on the conspiracy podcasts. What's it called? Monsanto. They're the people who buy up all the freaking patents on all the seeds. And I say, if you're a farmer and you make your own seeds, we're going to sue you for every penny you've got. That's the allegation that's made anyway. I don't know the details. I don't know how it works. Suffice to say, they say basically, if you make your own seeds from the stuff you grow instead of buying a new batch from the patent owners every year, basically they're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. They'll say you're basically like some fella. So you're like some woman who has a dead husband and keeps his eggs in a tube just in case for the rest of his life, and then goes off to some farm and says, I've got some seeds from my dead husband here. Will you implant them in me and turn them into potatoes, wherever people make the people equivalent of potatoes? What are they called? Oh yes, they're called people. The people equivalent of strangely enough, although it's not quite the same, because if you're a potato, you grow on a potato plant. You don't grow on another potato, although your seeds do grow on the outside of a potato on a potato plant, but that's not exactly the same as the human experience, is it? These potatoes will never, no matter how much they try, they'll never have the human experience, but similarly, we'll never have the potato experience. Don't be thinking you know it all just because you have the human experience. There's lots of things that potatoes and all sorts of other things on this planet experience, or would experience if they had any consciousness. So they don't even get to experience. Not only do you not experience the potato experience, the potatoes themselves don't experience it. So basically nobody knows what it's like to be a potato. So don't take anybody's word for it. Just keep an open mind. Anyway, on with the show.
Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats and stuff. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats and stuff. InToYourHead.com.
Two further channels of stereo audio walk into a bar. One of the channels of stereo audio goes straight up to the bar counter and says something very quietly and muffled that the man behind the bar can't hear, and the man behind the bar says, "Oh Christ, don't tell me you're the rear left from a set of Dolby surround sound or something, are you?" And the rear back speaker, whatever he says, "Oh no, I'm just a channel of audio. I'm not a speaker. You need to pay attention to this. I'm a channel of audio. I'm nothing more than a channel. So you can't blame me for the equipment. A bad workman blames his tools, they say, and a bad bollocks. This is a load of bollocks. This is a load of bollocks. Not really. I've made 2 podcasts already today, quite frankly, and the caffeine has worn off, and it's getting a bit late in the day to drink any more caffeine, and I'm sure as hell not going to switch to alcohol, not till I'm done here anyway, because there's things to be done. You can't be having beverages fueling everything, you know. Suffice to say, I need to get this done, so excuse me if I bollocks. Me. Note to future self, fade this out and interrupt it. Me. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to interrupt myself there, not least because the me of the past has requested so, but also because I am the me of the past, and I didn't have to hear my own instructions there to myself to know that I needed to fade myself out there, because that's so recent in my past. I actually remember when I was him. I remember when I was the him there, that's the me of the past. Feels like it was only a couple of minutes ago. It feels like it was me that was there and not just some other me. It really feels like it was me, which I suppose is possible, because in the short amount of time that passed, I don't know if it was longer ago, if it was years and years ago, I would have shed all my layers of skin and grown new layers of skin, and probably every cell in my body would have regenerated. So it's basically a different me. Well, no, that's close enough into the past. It's pretty much the same me. So, where are we going with this? I don't know. Suffice to say, that's myself interrupted now. So it's over to the pressure's on me now to take over and bring this somewhere. Well, we can drop the fucking 2 rear channels of stereo walking into a bar thing for a start, because that's not going anywhere. 2 cats walk into a bar. One of the cats goes straight up to the bar counter and says, "Hello, do you have a stereo by any chance?" And the man behind the bar says, "Why?" And the cat says, "Why would I know why you have a stereo? You haven't even told me whether you have one yet. Let's start with the basics. Do you have one?" And the man behind the bar says, "Yes, why?" And the cat says, "You tell me, why do you have a stereo?" And the man behind the bar says, "I don't know, why not?" And the cat says, "That's a good question, but it's irrelevant. The question of why you don't have a stereo is irrelevant because you do, so there's no point asking why do you not have a stereo." And the man says, "No, I meant, why would I not have one if I didn't have one?" And the cat says, "You're postulating now. Let's stick to the present and what you actually have. Why do you have a stereo?" And the man behind the bar says, "'Cause I like to play music in the bar." And the cat says, "Do you have a license to do so?" And the man says, "Yes, why?" And the cat says, I was just wondering whether people really have licenses for these things, or they just say they do, or they just hope nobody ever comes in and checks from the Institute of Stereo. There's an Institute of Stereo Checkers, that comes in and checks if you're playing your music legally in public places. And if you're not, I can tell you, they come down on you like a ton of bricks. It's never happened to me because I'm just a cat who's gone into a bar to order Guinness. But no, I've heard it happen to people who run businesses. It's terrible, really. People think they own the right to sound. Can you imagine if I was a cat had that? He couldn't fucking meow out someone going, "Oh, we own the meow thing," just like they did with the happy birthday thing that they sang in restaurants. You have to make up your own original happy birthday song now. You have to write a new meow if someone patents are meowing, or were they patent their copyrighted? I don't know. Just a cat. I'm not a copyright lawyer or solicitor, whatever they're called. And the man behind the bar says, "Would you like a pint of Guinness, sir?" And the cat says, "Yes, please." And the man behind the bar says, "Well, not over my dead body." And the cat says, "Why not?" And the man behind the bar says, "Because I'm not dead. In order for you to acquire my dead body and have a pint of Guinness over it, I would have to be dead. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't plan to be dead. And if I'm going to be dead, I certainly won't be buying any Guinness in here until the probate goes through and someone else is in charge." And the cat says, oh well, not to worry. Pint of your finest Guinness, please." And the man behind the bar says, "We've been through this already." And the cat says, "What was the outcome?" And the man says, "This." And the cat says, "Oh, good. This is me ordering a pint of Guinness, so this is the outcome." And the man behind the bar says, "Oh, you got me there. Pint of Guinness coming up, sir." And the cat says, "Thank you very much. Thank you very, 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 very much." And the man behind the bar says, "That's an unusual meow. Is that patented?" And the cat says, No, that was just me playing the harmonica. Or playing a harmonica. There's more than one in the world. But I was playing a harmonica." And the man behind the bar says, I knew a cat called Monica once." And the cat says, "You did not, you pile of bollocks. Stop making up piles of crap just to fill up your podcast." And the man behind the bar says, "Why? What else are we going to do if I don't do this? Start This Week in Science or something?" And the cat says, "I don't know. It's an idea, though. It's an idea. You've been at this for 8 years. It's time you tried something new." And the man behind the bar says, It is not. It's a tried and tested format that's been developed over many years and is going to continue as such." And the cat says, We'll see about that. And the man behind the bar says, "We will indeed. We will indeed. Would you like some monkey nuts, incidentally?" And the cat says, No. Oh, Christ, no. I was listening to a science podcast the other day. Said there's 18 different people's urine on a sample of those bowls of nuts they put on bars. And the man behind the bar says, "It's perfectly natural. Urine is perfectly natural." And the cat says, "Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good." And the man behind the bar says, who are you to go around judging other people's urine? You're a cat who sprays everywhere every time you're afraid of anything. And the cat says, you have a point there. Hopefully it's a pint of your finest Guinness with my name on it. And the man behind the bar says, oh, I'm sorry, I don't put names on things. This isn't some frigging crappy fake posh coffee place where we write your name on your beverages. We just give you the glass. And the cat says, oh, that's good to know. And a great night is had by all. Good morning.
Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener. Email Neil at studio@intoyourhead.com.